As I mentioned in my last video, fighting games were among the biggest titles in the early 90s, and there was no shortage of companies making an attempt at the genre. Some of these were great, but others not so much. In 1992, Battle Blaze, developed by ICOM and published by Sammy Corporation, was released in the arcade and on the Super Famicom. The game saw release in the US in 1993, though I'm showing the Japanese copy here because it's both what I have and far funnier. Although this copy is Japanese, it's entirely in English, including cutscenes. The game's story is told through a lengthy, confusing, poorly translated crawl. Essentially, the nation of Verg decides their king via a tournament, but a demon named Glyphermoth has decided to seize power and infected each of the competitors, called Blade Masters, with an evil soul. All except for one, Led Manan, who kills himself rather than letting himself be possessed. You, as his son Faud, who's totally not Conan, must defeat the champions who have fallen to Glyphermoth's curse and kill Glyphermoth himself. The game features two modes, the Hero, which is the game's story mode, and the Battles, which is the game's versus mode. In the Hero, you play as Faud, fighting against the four enemy Blade Masters. These Blade Masters are Gustav, Phylea, Shazzer, Warwick, or Werlick, and Wrangel, who has all kinds of problems. Not the least of which is not even appearing in story mode and only existing so that you can have mirror matches in versus mode. It's okay, Wrangel. I know you were just born with eyes for knees and a love for speedos. Graphically, Battle Blaze isn't too pretty to look at. The title screen looks fine, but everything else is barren. While Werlick's stage has some nice parallax scrolling, the other stages are underwhelming. Gustav's stage in particular looks closer to a Sega Master System game than a Super Nintendo title. Character animations are fine, although some intro animations are strange. The effect of an evil soul appearing whenever you defeat an opponent is kind of cool, however. The audio department is uninspired, but passable. At the very least, a few of the songs are kinda cool. The most important thing for any fighting game, however, is controls. How does Battle Blaze control? Well, the Super Nintendo has 6 primary buttons, A, B, X, Y, L, and R. Battle Blaze decides to only use 2 of them. You have 1 attack button and 1 jump button. If you crouch while hitting jump, you'll do a sweep, but otherwise your entire set of inputs is limited to just this 1 button and the D-pad. In addition, performing special moves uses a system similar to charge characters in Street Fighter, or like a lot of the moves in Mortal Kombat. Only instead of, say, pressing back, then forward plus punch to perform a move, you must press back, pause, forward, pause, and then the button. The timing on this is very strict, and in addition to feeling counterintuitive, it often doesn't work even when you know what you're trying to do. Not that it matters much, as Battle Blaze is without a doubt the easiest fighting game I've ever played. The AI is literally not programmed to react to throws, and you can beat the entire game by simply walking forward and pressing attack. Like, literally. Even the final boss, Glyphermoth, doesn't put up much of a fight, which is a shame, as many of his attacks are actually pretty cool looking. I beat the game so easily I honestly thought there must be a difficulty option that I could change. And there is, but only to make it easier. After beating Glyphermoth, you get another wall of English, and then the game scores both the player and itself. In my case, it rated me as only 1 rank above the worst in the game, despite never losing a single fight, although it did fairly give itself the worst possible score. With single player out of the way, the battle is the only other option, unless you count sound test as an option. This gives you the option of playing as the AI or another player. Here, you can actually choose your own character, including Wrangel, although the AI here is actually worse than in single player. In addition to still falling for tick throws over and over again, the AI will sometimes forget that it's playing and do nothing. At all. Come on, Wrangel, you're not even trying. 2 player is probably where you can have the most fun with the game, if only because enjoying a bad game is more fun with 2 players. Is Battle Blaze a bad game? Well, if you're playing it in any way that involves the AI, then yes. But in a way that's funny. If I bought this game at full price, I'd be pissed as hell, but looking back at it now, especially when playing with friends, Battle Blaze is the good kind of bad. It's a fighting game so terrible that you can't help but like it for some reason. For that, it's worth looking at, as long as you don't have to pay more than a few dollars for it. Unnecessary tier list time! Top tier, Shazzer, Werlick. Mid tier, Phylea, Faud. Bottom tier, Gustav. Wrangel tier, Wrangel. For more information on older games and more reviews like this, please like and subscribe.